Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Ascending Spirit. I'm Tanya. Today, we're going to talk about awakenings, what awakenings are, why we're going through this, and what the significance of it is. Awakening is becoming aware. This awakening is us becoming aware of ourselves and our potential. When we come into this life as tiny little babies, completely new, with no preconceived notions. It's a blank slate. There's no writing on it. Our parents and people who are in charge of us write in our slate. They fill it with what they want us to learn. And until we reach a certain age to where we become self-aware, we only do what we have been taught to do. The awakening is the challenge to that. As young children, we were filled with information given to us by those in charge of us. None of that came from ourselves. Our thought processes, our points of view were given to us. When we entered school, we were taught what the government and what the society we lived in decided it wanted us to learn. So, hold on. My puppy is trying to destroy my deck. I'll be right back. So, when we went to school, we were taught what to think, what to believe. The powers that be, that the powers that were above us, told us what they wanted us to know. It was completely out of our hands. And for a lot of you, I'm sure you can this will resonate with you. When you had questions that were about why, like let's say you asked about God, or why God didn't, you know, do something. Let's say you prayed for something or someone was sick, and your prayers weren't answered, and you asked about that. What response did you get? Did you get, oh, you just need to have faith, or that's not how it works? We were never told how powerful we are, how wonderful we are, how magical we actually are. No, we were subjected, suppressed, have been, have always been. And from really truly thinking for ourselves. And I know this is going to be a little bit disjointed, but I want to discuss fluoridation real quick and what it does. So the government puts fluoride in our drinking water. They poison our drinking water. Their fluoride does nothing for the human body. They say that fluoride is to prevent cavities. Well, how many of you got cavities and you drink water every single day? If fluoride truly prevented cavities, every person who drinks fluoridated water would be immune from cavities. Stop me if I'm wrong. But this is the reason they say that they put fluoride in our water. What fluoride actually does in the human body, and it only affects one small organ, okay? Right here in the center of our brain, our third eye sits. And fluoridation calcifies. It's called the pineal gland. Okay? It's shaped like a little pine cone. It's right in the center of your brain. Now, a lot of scientists have said that is our connection to the universe. That is our antenna, if you would like to say it. And what fluoride does is it calcifies it, and it stops it from working. So now, and anything that I say, guys, please do your own research. Challenge anything that I say because I'm a human being and I'm doing this off the top of my head. I could be wrong about some things. I don't think I am at this point, but I could be. Always, always, always don't just listen to someone else. Please do your own research. That's another reason that we are in the state that we are now, is because we have been programmed to obey. We have been programmed to obey. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Go along to get along. That's how we've been programmed. And another part of the awakening is to challenge that, to question everything. And that's what it's about. It's about us realizing who we are, where we are, what we are capable of, and why we are in this state, and why some of us can see the chaos that is surrounding us and others can't. That is a great, great, big question. Um, I do have two stories today that I'd like to read you from people who have submitted their stories about their awakening. So I'm gonna read this first one. If my Here we go. This one is from Lisa Tetrall, and it's her awakening story. She wrote this in August of 2020, and it goes, as I recall, my awakening started to surge forward about 8 years ago. I had always dabbled in metaphysics, but something clicked in 2012. I found Maston Kipp's blog, The Daily Love, and became intrigued. I liked how he used the universe instead of religion. Instead of religious deities that I wasn't ready to follow. His blog was mostly quotes of authors with which I was not familiar. I started searching for books by the authors of the quotes that I liked the most. Each book recommended another author and another author until I was submerged into a whole new world and way of thinking. I found authors like Louise Hay, Nick Ortner, Chris Carr, Wayne Dyer Jr., Joe Dispenza, Dr. Christiane Northup, Doreen Virtue, Pam Groove, Esther Hicks, etc. I couldn't get enough of this new information. I remember reading Journey of Souls by Dr. Michael Newton, which answered many of my questions, and ones I hadn't even thought of. Then I started my own blog, not really knowing how much I had to say, not really knowing how much I had to say. I wanted to get some information out for my clients and possibly future clients. I had no idea I would write so many entries. I would sit down to write a few sentences about a topic, and the next thing I knew, I had written a whole page. I was in flow. Time went by unnoticed. All of a sudden, after writing 28 entries, I was done. I'd written all that was necessary for the time being. It was very strange. For many years, I was afraid to talk about spirituality with my clients for fear that they would see me as odd or judge me. Little by little, I started to drop breadcrumbs into our sessions until I realized that the majority of the people I worked with were hungry to talk about this topic. Eventually, I left a big practice to go out on my own and actually advertise myself as a mental health counselor that incorporates spirituality. for those that are interested. I am happy to report that my solo practice is really busy and I love my work even more than before. It's so fun to be a way shower and watch others wake up. So, no epiphanies or big events started my awakening, but I'm grateful for this shift and look forward to continued spiritual growth and ascension, as well as my progress and growth from my clients. We are all looking forward to waking up in 5D. Okay, namaste. And that was by Lisa Tetreault. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you for sharing that with us. And again, everyone's awakening journey is different. All of us are going to have a different experience. One of the main things I want to talk about in the ascension is that when we're going through this, it forces us to look in the mirror. And I use my hand as a mirror because this is what the awakening truly does for us. It forces us to look at ourselves. We judge and hold opinions for so many people. And a lot of the things that we just cannot stand about other people are reflected in ourselves. So if there's something that just annoys you to no end, hold that mirror up in front of your face and look and see if that is not a behavior that you yourself has been guilty of. For me, I would like to say that I did not realize how big of a hypocrite I was until I went through the awakening process because it forced me again to look myself in the mirror. I was very judgmental of other people. I always felt like that me sitting on the sidelines and watching or hearing or reading that I knew all there was to know about someone's, especially another person's issues, what they were going through. And I'm going to bring my sister in line to this because I love her and because I've apologized to her for this. Not knowing, just knowing her from knowing her, hearing the stories of them growing up, but not knowing, I realized that I didn't know anything about her, that I was judging her based on just circumstantial evidence, and that I had judged her so harshly when I did not know her story. It broke my heart. It broke my heart because here I am thinking that I'm this awakened being that that I'm connected to the universe, and somehow that gives me a reason to look upon somebody else and look down on them or look at them like, oh, they just don't understand what they're doing with their life and not knowing anything about them. That mirror was what I was doing to her. The way that I was judging her was exactly how I had been judged and looked at my whole life. So the prey becomes the predator, basically. And we have to get out of our own heads and look at things as they are, not as we think they are, not as we assume they are, not as our ego might say that they are, but to actually see things as they are, to see people, as vulnerable human beings, as people who need help, who need compassion, who need love. All the things that we ourselves want. When we've made a mistake, we don't want somebody jumping down our throats. We want somebody to let us know what we did wrong and possibly give us some advice on how to not make that mistake again, but not to point a gun in our face and fire. No. And this is the world that we are living in. We take other people's plights, problems, and from the sideline, we decide that, oh, we know exactly what's wrong with their life and how to fix it. And we just call them lazy and say they're not working hard enough or they're not trying hard enough. Or if they did X, Y, or Z, they wouldn't be in that situation. When in reality, What we should be doing in all of those situations is reaching our hand out, reaching our heart out, showing compassion and love, not pointing the finger, not placing blame. That's another part of the awakening, is to come out of yourself and to become one with nature. Okay, with nature. And we are all nature. We are plants. Okay, we need water, we need sunlight. We are giant moving plants. Okay, we have to be taken care of, whether it's by ourselves or whether we do it for ourselves or someone does it for us. Because in the beginning, we need to be cared for. Then we learn how to care for ourselves. Then we age, and then we need to be cared for again. It's a circle. It's a circle. Okay. I know this is kind of disjointed. I've got a second story, if I can find it quickly, that I'd like to share with you as well. Okay. So let me get back to, and this one is from Patricia. Patricia R would like to share her story as well. Okay, here we go. Patricia's story starts like this. I would like to share a story with you. I was 16 years old and had a miscarriage. Shortly after I had my miscarriage, I decided to move to Texas. Um, Before I left, my mother had asked me if I would take a picture downtown at the TGNY. I told her I would. So a few days later, before I got ready to leave, I went to the TGNY and took a picture. And when I got ready to go pick up the pictures, I noticed that there was an image over my right shoulder, and it was my great great grandmother holding my baby. I hope you enjoyed my story. I've always had a gift since I was 3 years old. Had a bad case of yellow jaundice, and after that, I started having images and dreams, silent movies, uh, silent movie visions. And when I told my mother the first image I ever saw, she thought I was possessed by the devil. And because my mother felt that way, she ended up taking me to different preachers to see if I was possessed, but they all told her no, that I was not possessed. They told her instead that I was gifted. Thank you, Patricia. Thank you so much for sharing your story. And unfortunately, guys, this is one of the problems that a lot of people face. And I want to say this, a lot of people who are waking up early are psychic people. I think that is because people who are psychic, whether they know it or don't know it, have a connection to the universe, to the ether that is unbroken. Even if with a calcified pineal gland, there is still that connection there. And I think this is why people who are empaths, people who have psychic, any type of psychic ability, tend to be waking up first. And I do believe that this is so that we can help other people who are going through the ascension process. Okay. Again, it's different for everybody. It's painful, it's hard, it's lonely. And oh my goodness, does it definitely make us stand apart? Because the awakening pulls us out of ourselves. It literally pulls us apart to where we can see both sides of ourselves. That side that is aimed for the higher good, and that side that is living in duality, just trying to live and make it on this planet. Okay? Guys, I love you. I don't want these to go too long. So every day we're going to do little different tidbits on the awakening. If you have questions, please, please, please drop them at psychictanya9 at gmail.com. I'll leave the link in the description. Share your stories. Ask questions. I am still doing private readings, guys. Awakening people. If you would like a tarot reading or a psychic reading, please get with me at psychictanya9 at gmail.com. And we can have personal discussions about your awakening and one-on-ones, about any questions you have about awakenings. Guys, I'm here for you. We all have to be here for each other. This is what it's all about. It's about each one taking the hand of another one so that we can step through into the new world together, that we can grow. This is a cosmic change. The timelines are coming together. We are going to go through a massive, massive jump. It's coming quickly. So if you have questions, please get with me. Ask any questions in the comment section if you'd like to. I love them and I will answer. I will answer any serious question given. I love you guys. Take care of yourselves. Do not be afraid of what is happening to you. Find your center. Some good resources are on YouTube, the channel called Higher Self. There's lots and lots of resources for the awakening, for some insight. Um, Braca Goldsmith is great to listen to, and uh, gosh. And every day I'm going to leave more names for you. I don't have my paperwork out here with the names that I really want to leave you, but there are lots of people. And on my next video, I will have those names and resources. Actually, I'll put names and resources in the description for YouTube vloggers that can help uh, with the ascension process. I love you guys. I love you. Thank you for being here with me. Please, 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 don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of what's happening. This is a shift of consciousness. We are awakening to meet the moment that is at hand. And as you can see, a lot of people in the world are asleep as to what is going on. And that sleep is for a reason. But very shortly, a lot of people are going to wake up, and it is going to be very chaotic for some because change is hard. And this change is altering. I mean, it forces us to leave things that don't serve us, to put things down, to walk away from things, to walk away from people. It's a big, big thing. I love you. I love you. Please ask your questions. Get with me on email, psychictanya9 at gmail.com. Ask me any questions. Get with me for a reading, and we can help. Together, we can build a community that is a place for information, a safe place for people who are going through the ascension process, and a place to where you know, number one, you're not alone. Number two, you're not going crazy. This is real. It's really happening. It's happening to a lot of us all at the same times. I love you guys. Don't be afraid. Be prepared. Okay? Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.